Every day, it just keeps getting worse and worse for the hardcore scene, okay? It is so cooked and so washed after having 3 or 4 brilliant years post-COVID. Now, it is very clear that hardcore might be the wackest subgenre within the punk rock world, okay? We've had a whole bunch of really cringe dramas, all these band members doing really stupid things out here. We had Taco Bell sponsoring punk rock bands, which I didn't really mind so much, but the story that we're going to talk about today is something that I do very much mind, and I do have a strong case against, okay? We're going to be talking about Nike. Yes, the Nike, the shoe company, the athletic company, the Nike, okay? This corporation is out there now sponsoring punk rock bands. And not only are they sponsoring punk rock bands, these punk rock bands are lapping it up, and the fans are coping, saying that it's a great thing, saying that this is a wonderful thing, and no other time in history would this have been seen as something cool, okay? So I know I'm getting heated. I'm gonna have to go back to the beginning a little bit and explain this to you. So before I do that, I am going to introduce myself. My name is Dan Frampton. I am the internet's most ruthless gatekeeper and the planet's most entertaining human being. And today we gotta gatekeep hardcore the way that the hardcore scene is forgetting how to do, which is really a sad situation because the hardcore scene is supposed to be famous for its gatekeeping. So, what am I all worked up about, okay? We got this band called Speed. Now, Speed is a hardcore band from Australia, and over the last 2 years or so, they've been the most hype hardcore band, especially internationally, but they're making a whole lot of noise on American soil. Now, don't get me wrong, Speed definitely have a lot of bangers, they are great live, and they are causing a lot of disturbance in the scene, which is greatly needed, okay? But some red flags were raised last month when Post Malone was appointed as the director of the music going on the WWE 2K24 soundtrack, and there they were. There was Speed in a video game. And there's one part of my brain that's like, hey, that's kind of cool. We're getting hardcore bands out there, getting paid. They're in video games on the tips of tongues of Post Malone. But back in the day, if you would have taken a sync license, you would have been ridiculed and laughed out of the scene. But right now, it's being celebrated. It's crazy. Remember way back in the day when the Transplants, which is that band with Tim Armstrong and Travis Barker or whatever, they did that shampoo commercial and everybody made fun of them. They totally disregarded everything that Rancid was doing at the time because the Transplants sold their song for this shampoo commercial. I don't know, man, but taking corporate money doesn't really seem like the most punk rock thing in the world. Now, it's kind of cool that the guys are getting paid to be making the music or whatever, but I gotta argue that taking a Nike corporate sponsorship might not be the best way around it. If you're in a position to be taking a Nike corporate sponsorship, that tells me you're already making money. Now, if you're taking more blood money from Nike, that just tells me that you are corporate. That just tells me that you are a capitalist. That just tells me that you are corrupt gang called Speed. And all their fans are just totally cool with it. Because here on this post, one guy was like, hey, this is like really not chill. This isn't DIY. What are you doing? You know, basically saying what I'm saying in this video. And he got immediately ratioed. So given the evidence that I'm seeing right in front of my face right here, I know making this kind of video might be a bad idea because it's considered a hot take that I think that Nike giving corporate blood money to a punk rock band is a little bit whack and not so chill. Not only does it put a bad taste in my mouth for the band, a gang called Speed, but it puts a bad taste in my mouth for the entire genre that I've been spending my whole life following. I was even made fun of when I put Nikes on my feet. I do have an affinity for some Nike sneakers, okay? I gotta say that it's a little bit of a guilty pleasure, and rightfully so. I was made fun of by people when I was putting Nikes on my feet, and I was taking that risk wearing those Jordans because it was a reflection of my identity and my personality and me being myself. And me being myself, I thought, was like the most punk rock thing that you could do, you know what I mean? So even though people were making fun of me for wearing Nike shoes, I was still going to be wearing Nike shoes. And now I'm still wearing Nike shoes and listening to hardcore music, but seeing this corporate sponsorship in a band that is this hype is just very unsettling, and I can't believe that this is the place that we are in 2024. And I will reiterate, this is blood money that they're taking. When you're in a punk rock band, when you're in like a revolutionary type band, when you're breaking the rules, you got to be out there with a little bit of integrity, okay? When you have some bands dropping off of huge festivals because of reasons or whatever, it shows you that some bands are still fighting the fight and standing up for what they believe in, but a lot of what that is doesn't mean shit to other people when they can enrich themselves. So great, Speed. They got Post Malone to put them in a WWE 2K game, and now we have this little video over here. A Speed Nike commercial. I can't play the whole thing because of copyright, but we'll do it in a couple second spurts. All right, we got some spin kicks. All right, that's great. Yeah, that's a gang called Speed. They're out there definitely doing their thing. Jumping around. And then the product shot, the close-up of the shoes. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna leave it right there. We don't need to see any more than that. Hardcore has sold out. Hardcore has totally jumped the shark. What a pathetic time to be a fan of the genre. And if you're out here defending this, it's clear that you're just meat riding because this band is hot and hype right now and you want to be friend collected by them. Wouldn't it be cool if they rolled around your city and you got to stand on stage when they played their set? That's the kind of mentality that most of these hardcore freaks go into things with. And there's a double standard here, big time. If any other band did this, one that wasn't so hype, one that wasn't so cool, and they took corporate blood money from Nike, they would be ridiculed out of the scene. It doesn't matter that the hardcore scene kind of has that kind of jockey type thing, they still would have been made fun of. But because a gang called Speed is super hype, because they got Post Malone's stamp of approval or whatever on it, everything is going to be hunky-dory with their fans. They're going to be actually celebrated for it, and I think that is so sad. Now, when I turn on WWE 2K24 and that song comes on and it goes dun 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 Speed, you know I still sing along to the Speed part. I've definitely been programmed to like that song. I've listened to it a bunch on my own accord, but now it has this huge corporate stink on it that is just not gonna get washed away easily. I'm gonna have to get out the turpentine and the turpentine. I just want so bad for this genre to be what I love it to be. About community, about DIY, about togetherness, about an actual scene doing something because the rest of the world thinks that you guys are too weird to be doing stuff, so you go do your weird thing in a warehouse somewhere. But we're so far from that now. Now it's just a cool boys club. Now it's just like if you don't have a Nike corporate sponsorship, you don't belong inside of the clique. This is hardcore, a place for the freaks, a place for the weirdos, a place for the people with something to say. Now I know it's been basically a fashion show for hype beasts for a little bit now, but this is too far. I'm not going to be out here burning LPs or anything like that. It isn't like a huge atrocity of humankind or whatever. It just makes me realize that this DIY thing is really just an aesthetic now. Something people are using to look cool, and that is so weird because it's been for the uncool for so long. And now instead of being a place for people that are freaks and weirdos and outcasts and people that have been bullied, it is a place to go to get bullied by jocks with Nike corporate sponsorship blood money. If you're defending this, I don't want to say anything positive to you. You're clearly coping. Okay, I gotta get out of here right now. Remember to stay humble, work hard, and be ruthless.